Hey Facebook friends, Zach here, and this is going to be a quick video on how to overcome fear. And this is what I'm damn passionate about, helping people break through their fears every day. And I'm going to share with you some strategies that can really help you overcome any fear, because we all feel it. It's a flight or fight response. As soon as we feel something, we step out of our comfort zone, instantly we start to feel like this fear cripple us. And you can either let it cripple you or you can use it. Because fear is just an emotion and it's physical. It gets a certain response in our body and it puts us, adrenaline shoots through our body and it's crazy, I don't want to do that. And it tries to keep us safe, because I always tell people, people want to be successful and they're like, but I don't want to feel fear. And I'm just like, that's part of the journey. You're going to feel fear. Whenever you step out of your comfort zone, you're going to feel fear. So you just got to accept it. Expect it's going to be there. Expect fear is going to be there. Expect fear is going to hold you back at certain stages, and you've got to be strong enough to break through it. Because on the other side of your comfort zone is your freedom. On the other side of your comfort zone is your freedom, and most people don't see that. They see I'm in the comfort zone, it's scary out there, what could happen? What if this person says this? What happens if I do all this stuff and I fail? But I really want you to ask yourself a question. What really is fear to you? What's fear mean to you? Are you letting fear control you, or are you using fear? Because you can always use fear, because sometimes, the scariest times in my life, I've actually showed up. A time just recent, I skydived. Of course you're going to feel fear in that moment, it's completely out of your comfort zone. And I used to think one day I'll do that. And I used to tell myself that story. Have you ever told yourself a story like that? One day I'm going to do this. One day I'll do this. But the reality is you don't do that. The reality is you get caught up in your head and you're like, one day leads to a week leads to a year, and you haven't done anything. But I want to ask you a question. Once I got in that plane, this is what happened. I was freaking out. I was scared. I was nervous. Anxiety was going through my body, and my mind was saying, what are you doing? It thinks of the worst case scenario. You're going to die. Stay here, because your brain doesn't care about you succeeding. It only cares about you surviving. If you've survived up to now, why would you want to change? It will keep you in the same position if you let it. But you don't have to let it. Because as soon as I got up in that plane, I was resistant, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And I started breathing, adrenaline was through me, and I made a decision in my head. And the decision was, I can do this. Have you ever done that? Ever been so scared about doing something, and you're in an awkward position, you're embarrassed, whatever it was, and you just decided to say, do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to use this anxiety. Because the one thing I've realized in my life is anxiety is the emotion of growth. It's what everyone aches. It's what everyone goes through. There's not one person out there that doesn't feel anxious at times. It's a natural part of you. Anxiety ain't going to go away. It's only a problem when you resist it. The anxiety comes up, I feel anxious. No, I'm going to hold back. There's a problem. It's not a problem. It's meant to be there. What if all the negative emotions that you feel in your life was a perception change and they weren't negative? They're a part of you. Sometimes when people feel depressed, it's actually a time, where they're down, where they're dark. It's their darkest time. But if they can break themselves out of that, usually they have distinctions. Usually they can help other people get out of that. So your greatest battle was usually your greatest gift. And if you can really look at it like that, anything that you're going through in your life right now, it's your story. Make your mess your message. Go out there. Say, oh my God, I'm struggling right now. My back's against the wall. My fear's crippling me. No, I'm going to show up today. I'm going to do something out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to start something. I'm going to do that business that I've always wanted to do. I'm going to break through that fear. I'm going to skydive. Do you know why? Because it's going to shock my nervous system. Because the thing that I've realized is if you're depressed or you're sad or something's really struggling right now, step out of the comfort zone. That's what's going to keep you there. You think it's a problem, but as soon as you step out of your comfort zone, it's not a problem anymore. You step up. You have to. Your back's against the wall. Your nervous system lights up again. Because you're not expressing. And if you're sad and you're depressed, what's the opposite of depression? It's expression. Because the person that's depressed isn't expressing themselves. And as soon as you go into skydive, what happens? You go in the plane, you're expressing. What the hell am I doing? I'm expressing. It might be crazy expression, but you're expressing. It gets you out of your head. You start focusing on what you want. You start focusing on, oh my God, okay, I have to do this. After it, what happens? Once you step out of your comfort zone, you come out the other side. Even if it goes good or bad, what do you feel? You feel alive. You feel alive. The biggest times in my life when I felt the most alive was the times out of my comfort zone. It's the more you test that barrier, the more it expands. And that's what I want you to start doing. Realize there's a barrier around you and realize it's just keeping you there stuck. And if you want to change your life and you're out there and you're struggling saying, Zach, I just want to do something. I don't know how to get out of my head. This fear's crippling me. Face the fear. It ain't going to go away. People always say, when's the fear going to go away? It depends on your state. Sometimes you feel certain you can break through. You can break through certain states, but guess what? I still feel scared. Sometimes I feel nervous. Sometimes I feel anxious over the stuff that I've been doing for so long, and I still feel anxious. It's that spark. But as soon as I feel anxious, I know instead of feeling like, oh my God, I still feel anxious, I'm like, yes, I feel anxious. What would life be like that? What would life be like if every time you felt anxious, you realized you were growing? The internal frame inside your mind was growing. Because you're always going to feel anxiety. You can feel anxiety for two ways, and it's stress in a way. Anxiety is stress in a way. And stress is just a byproduct of you thinking life should look a different way to where it is right now. The pictures in the outer world don't fit what it should be like. It says in the inner world. My inner world says this and the external is not matching that, so I feel stress. That's what most people go through. And you can either feel stress for two ways. Distress, that's one form of stress. And distress is, you're not following your dreams and you feel stressed. I know I should be doing this, but I'm not, and I feel stressed about that. That's de-stress. Euphoric stress is when you step up, when you don't resist things. You're like, oh my God, I feel stressed, but I'm going for it. That is a life that inspires people. Use stress. Don't let it use you. It's so important. You don't want to get to the end of your life and say, oh my God, I still felt stressed, because you're going to feel stressed anyway, but it was distress. I didn't follow my dreams. I didn't become the person I wanted to be because I was stuck in fear. I let it cripple me. I couldn't do anything. Or I can use stress. It's a euphoric feeling. When you do it, you feel energized. There's no one that's stepping out of their comfort zone that doesn't feel energized at times, doesn't feel scared at times, but they're alive. They're like, oh my God, in a year's time, I'm going to look back on that, and that was crazy. I did that. So what's one thing today that you can go out there and face your fears? Literally, whatever it is that you keep putting off, stop putting it off. It's time to stop putting things off and start acting and living now, because every single second we're dying. You can't get yesterday back. Yesterday's gone. We've only got today. The future's gone. Get a projection on what you want in the future, but start living in the now. We got today. The next 5 minutes is going to determine your destiny. You can either sit here, worry one day it's going to get better, or you can decide to say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to not resist ambiguity, stress, and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to realize anxiety is the emotion of growth, and I'm going to feel anxious and say, let's do this. That's a different life. But start small. Start doing little things. Start doing little things so it grows your self-esteem. Because someone that has high self-esteem is a person that is going out there, crushing it, facing their fears, and everyone has the ability on the other end to do this. What kind of life do you want? This is serious. What kind of life do you want? Stop staying in the same position. Stop staying on the middle of the fence. Do I do it or do I not do it? Get clear on what you want, go for it, realize that you're guided, that you'll flow. If you set the intention, you take action, you will manifest what you want. Just remember to be kind to yourself, love yourself, look at yourself every day and say that. And when you come from that place, there's nothing that you can really be afraid of. So much love to you guys out there. Go out, comment below if you did go out there and do something you're afraid to do, because I get inspired by that. That makes me want to do it. So make sure you go out there and do that and have an amazing day. Boom!